Speed. That's what separates a cool demo from a production ready system. Every great search system starts fast until the data grows. When you're working with millions of embeddings, those lightning fast PostgreSQL queries can start to lose their speed, and that's when vector indexes come in. In this tutorial, we are going to put PGVector to test, comparing two powerful index types, IVFFlat and HNSW. We will compare benchmarks on large embeddings table, measure query time, and see how each index performs under pressure. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which index to use, when to use it, and how to make PostgreSQL fly through millions of vectors like it's nothing. Alright, so as you can see on my screen, I have started Jupyter Notebook where I have kept the total code for this tutorial. I will include link to it into the description so you can download and follow along. In this tutorial, we will be benchmarking two indexes on PGVector, IVFFlat and HNSW. We will start by generating embeddings of 1 million movies. We will generate embeddings on the title, description and genres. Then we will benchmark search with no index and two indexes. So we will send a search query and find matching movies to that user's search query. Then we will compare SQL query speeds, and at last we will understand when to use which index. The prerequisite for this tutorial is that you should have knowledge on PGVector. I have a separate tutorial on that. I will include link to it into the description if you want to check it out. So let's get started. So first of all, you need to install the necessary dependencies for the tutorial. We'll be using pandas for loading and manipulating dataset, and we will use G2 for communicating with the database, and we will use OpenAI for accessing our embedding models. Though for this tutorial, we will be using a local LLM available through Ollama. You can use the same code if you want to use OpenAI LLMs for generating embeddings. So in the first section, we are doing a basic setups, imports, and we are defining configs and helper functions. So here are the necessary imports related to G2, pandas, and OpenAI. And then we are loading the environment variable. And then we have declared a dictionary about our DB configuration, what is the host, port, database name, user password. In the section 1.1, I have declared a helper function named getConnection. So this function establishes a connection with the database and returns connection and cursor object, which we can use to communicate with the database. Next, I am checking the connection with the database, whether it's working fine or not, or the function that we defined. In the section 1.2, we are declaring a helper function again to generate embeddings. So first of all, I have declared the client using the OpenAI, and the base URL is the base URL of Ollama. But if you're using OpenAI, then you don't need to provide a base URL. You will need to provide API key though. So this client will be used to communicate with the LLM. And this getEmbedding helper function generates embeddings and returns it. For generating embedding, we are using an all mini LLM, which is a famous small LLM for generating embeddings for this tutorial. And over here, we are testing the generation of embeddings. So length of the embedding generated by this model all mini LM is 384. So it generates embeddings of that length. Next, in this section, we are loading the dataset that we are going to use for this tutorial. So I am using this full TMDB movies dataset 2024, which is available from Kaggle. And the dataset has information like titles, ratings, release dates, revenues, genres, and much more. And it contains more than 1 million entry. So over here, I am loading the dataset, which is available as a CSV file. And then I am doing a few cleanups to the dataset. So I am filling NaN values so that when we are inserting values into the database, there are no failures. And here's the dataset, as you can see. And we have selected these columns, IMDb IB, title, release date, runtime, overview, and genres, which we will be using for our tutorial. Next, in the third section, I am creating a table where we will keep our data and embeddings. So here's the query to create the table. So we will have column name title, genres, overview, which is the description of the movie, runtime, release date, and then embedding. So in this embeddings column, we will store our embedding, and its data type is vector and length is 384 because our embedding model generates embeddings of length 384. If you are using OpenAI embeddings models, then you will need to change this length accordingly. So executing this particular cell creates the table. Next, in this fourth section, we will generate the embeddings and then we will insert those embeddings into our database. So in section 4.1, first of all, we are generating embeddings of all the movies. So we are combining three columns, strings of three columns, title, overview, and genres. We are combining all three columns into one strings, as you can see, and from that string, we are creating embedding using the get embedding function. So as you can see, it took around 8 hours and 4 minutes because there are a lot of records. There are more than 1 million records. So it takes time. And as you can see, there is a one extra column embedding where the embeddings are present. So now that we have created embeddings, let's go ahead and insert those embeddings in our database. So here's the insert SQL which we will use to insert records into our table movie embeddings. We will be inserting title, genres, overview, runtime, release date, and embeddings. And for inserting, we are using this function execute values. This function is used to insert records in batches. So we will insert 10,000 entries as a time. We are providing it cursor, then our SQL query, and then I am providing the whole data set, and it will insert entries 10,000 as a time because the page size is set as 10,000. And once we execute this cell, it will insert all the embeddings and records into the table. And as you can see, even this operation took time. It took 1 hour and 45 minutes. Next, in the fifth section, we have defined the search function. So this function takes the query embedding, so user query embedding as input, and limit how many movies which matches this particular query to return. So limit is set to 10. So by default, it will return 10 movies that matches the most to the user query. For that, we are using this SQL to find the movies. And it's a simple select query which returns title, and we are comparing embedding of user query with all the embeddings of our table. And this is the cosine similarity operation, so cosine distance operation, and we are ordering by that cosine distance operation, and limit is set to percentage as, which is 10. So it will return 10 rows which matches the most to the user query, and then we are converting it to the pandas data frame and returning it. Alright, so now that we have declared our search function, let's go ahead and try user query on the embeddings table. So first of all, I am creating embedding of this user query, movie about astronaut lost in space. So we want movies that represents astronauts lost in space. And first we are generating embedding of that query. And then we are calling our search function with that query embedding and retrieving result. We are also measuring the time taken to execute this search function. And as you can see from the result, it took 2 seconds and 2 seconds, 2.12 seconds to execute this particular function. So that's a good time. I mean, okay time. If you are planning to build a REST API from this, then this will be considered slow because 2 seconds is slow. But if you look at results are good. Lost in space, the astronaut, origin, dead astronaut, and so on. So those are the movies about astronauts lost in space. And because the search without any index is a sequential search, that's why it took 2 seconds to execute this particular. So let's go ahead and try some indexes and see how it compares without indexes. So in the 7th section, first of all, we will try IVFFlat index, which stands for inverted file with flat quantization. And the index is based on clustering based approach. So IVF first assigns all embeddings into clusters. So number of clusters are created from the embeddings. And then during the search, it compares the query only with the vectors inside a few closest clusters. So it does not search all clusters, only specified clusters are searched. And there are two important parameters for this query. One is list, which is the number of cluster. And this is specified when creating an index, and it is typically in the range of 50 to 1000. Higher will give better results, but could also slow down the search on large index. So choose this particular parameter after trying few tunings. And probes is the how many clusters to search at query time. So when you are firing select query, at that time you can set this probes parameter, which is generally in 1 to 20. Higher means better accuracy again, but it could also slow down speed because we'll be searching more clusters to find the results. So let's go ahead and create that index. And here is the SQL query to create the index. So we will call create index and then name of the index, which is movie embedding IVFFlat on movie embeddings table using IVFFlat because we are creating IVFFlat index. We want to create index on embedding column. And we also need to provide operation that we want to optimize. So we want to optimize vector cosine ops. There is also other operation vector L2 ops available, which is for L2 normalization. And with parameter, then with we specify list parameter. So we are creating 100 clusters for this one. So we are 1 million records and we are creating 100 clusters. So I guess around 10,000 entries will be there per cluster. So executing this query, as you can see, this create index query took nearly 1 minute. So index creation was super fast. Now there is one specific requirement for IVF index is that after you create an IVF flat index, you need to execute this SQL query, analyze movie embeddings, analyze and then table name. This is required for IVFFlat to become active. Yeah, so that's the requirement and that operation took 3.3 seconds. So let's go ahead and benchmark on IVFFlat. So in the ninth section, we are benchmarking our search query on the table on which the IVFFlat index is now created. So again, we are creating a query embedding, again like earlier, movie about astronauts lost in space. And first of all, we are setting the probes parameter to 10. So we want to search at max 10 clusters to find the matching movies. And then we are calling our search function to retrieve results of IVF. We are also measuring the time it took to execute this query. And as you can see from the results, the query time is 0.0365 seconds. So that's quite less compared to the one without index. So if you remember, one without index took 2.12 seconds, whereas this one took 0.036 seconds. So it's almost 36 milliseconds and it's super fast. And if you look at the results are almost same as the one from the without index. So yeah, the index helped a lot. You can see it's super fast. Alright, so now that we have tried IVFFlat index and benchmarked its performance, let's go ahead and try our second index, which is HNSW, which stands for Hierarchical Navigable Small World Graph. And as you can see from the name, it's a graph-based approach to find the approximate nearest neighbor search. And HNSW builds a multi-layer graph where each node connects to its nearest neighbor. And during the search, PostgreSQL walks through this graph to find the closest matches. And this index has 3 parameters. So M is the number of bidirectional links per node, which you can specify during the creation of the index. And it is generally in the range 8 to 32. And higher will give you better results again, but it can result in more memory usage. Another is EF underscore construction. This one will also be used during index the creation. So it's the search depth in the graph, how many layers down you want to go to find the matching results. And that is generally in the range 40 to 200. Higher is always better, but again, it can slow down the index build. So choose these parameters after fine tuning. And the third parameter is EF underscore search. This is specified during querying, so before the select query. And this is again the number of layers you want to go down to the graph to find the matching embeddings. That is again in the range of 20 to 200. Higher will give better results, but again, it could slow down your query. So let's go ahead and create this particular index. So first of all, I am dropping if there is any existing index. And here is the SQL query to create this index. So we create index with the name movie embedding HNSW on movie embeddings our table using HNSW. And the column name is embedding from our table on which we want to create index. And we want to optimize vector cosine ops again. With M is set to 16 and the parameter M, and EF construction is set to 64. So 16 bidirectional links and 64 layer depth we want to go into the graph to find the matching embeddings. And when I executed this query, as you can see from the wall time over here, it took almost 25 minutes to create this query. So the creation of HNSW takes a lot of time based on the amount of embeddings you have compared to IVFFlat. And it also takes more memory compared to IVFFlat. So when you're creating HNSW, keep that thing in mind. So now that we have created HNSW index, let's benchmark it as well. So again, we are creating the embeddings of our user query, movie about astronaut. And then I have set HNSW.EF search to 40. So I have specified that go down 40 layers down the graph to find the matching results. And then we are passing that query embedding to our search function and retrieving results. And we are again measuring the time taken to execute the function. And as you can see, after executing this cell, the query time is 0.0795 seconds. So again, this one is super fast if you compare it to the one without index, which was 2.12 seconds. So it's super fast compared to that. So this is about 79 or 80 milliseconds, and that was 2 seconds. But if you remember, the IVF flat took around 35 milliseconds. So it's twice the IVF flat. And if you look at the results are almost same in all the three cases. So let's go ahead and compare the query times. So in this section, I have created a simple graph using matplotlib about the time taken to execute query for each scenario. So the first one is without no index, which as you can see took 2 seconds. So y-axis is in seconds. IVF flat took 0.3 some seconds, so 0.03 seconds, so it's over here. And HNSW took 0.079 seconds, so that's over here. Here's a one more chart where we are comparing the IVF flat and HNSW only. And as you can see, IVF flat took almost half the time of HNSW. So IVF flat is faster compared to HNSW. But I would recommend if you are try both first and select then one for your scenarios. Now, before I started the tutorial, so initially I tried this graph with 100k entries also. So currently we have 1 million entries, but when I tried it with 100k entries, the query without index also took 0.06 or 7 second, which is fast. So if you have 100k records, even without index, the results will be faster. And IVF flat with IVF flat index, those 100k entries took 0.01 second, and HNSW took 0.025 seconds around that time. Right, so in this last section, we are comparing both the indexes, IVF flat and HNSW, the pros and cons of both. So you can decide which one to use. So algorithm wise, the IVF flat is based on clustering, as I said, and HNSW is based on graph. Speed, it's IVF flat is very fast with small probes, and HNSW is fast and consistent. Accuracy depends on number of clusters of IVF flat, and HNSW accuracy is generally higher. So if you want very accurate results, then you need to go to HNSW. But if you want faster results and you can sacrifice little bit on accuracy, then IVF flat is good for you. Index build time for IVF flat is super fast. If you remember, in our case, it took only 1 minute to build IVF flat, where HNSW build is slower. If you remember, it took 25 minutes to build HNSW. Memory usage for IVF flat is also lower, and memory usage for HNSW is higher because it stores graph links. Both supports incremental inserts, so no worry about that. And IVF flat is very good for large data sets. So if you have millions of records, then you should use IVF flat, and otherwise you should use HNSW. And best metrics are cosine and L2 operation. So we use the cosine, vector cosine ops for our case. So the summary of the tutorial is that if you have greater than 1 million records for which you want to store embedding and search through that, I would suggest that you go ahead with IVF flat. Otherwise, go ahead with HNSW if you have less than 1 million records. And if you want a very accurate result, you don't want to compromise with results, then go ahead with HNSW, because IVF results can be little bit off sometimes, but very rarely it will happen. So you can still go ahead with IVF flat. So yeah, that's it for this tutorials. If you have any doubt or any question, then feel free to let me know in the comments.